You think you understand women. You think it's about love, beauty, attention. You are wrong. You've been playing checkers in a world that runs on power. And if you don't understand the game, you will be controlled by it. Niccolò Machiavelli warned princes about kingdoms, but no one warned you about desire. No one told you that attraction is not romance. It is leverage, it is dominance, it is emotional sovereignty. And the only men who win are the ones who cannot be owned. So listen carefully, because what you are about to hear will either offend your ego or free you from it. Women do not wake up craving romance the way movies sell it. They crave security that feels unbreakable. And security is not words. It is power. Niccolò Machiavelli understood something most men refuse to accept. People are drawn to what can protect them or destroy them. Love is fragile. Power is stable. A man who begs for affection communicates weakness. A man who stands unmoved communicates authority. And authority is intoxicating. When a woman says she wants love, what she often means is she wants to feel safe inside your strength. She wants to feel that your presence bends the environment, that other men measure themselves against you, that the room shifts when you enter, not because you are loud, but because you are certain. Power is certainty under pressure. It is the ability to stay calm when accused, to remain steady when tested, to walk away when disrespected. Most men think love means giving more attention, more reassurance, more availability. But excessive giving signals dependence. Dependence lowers perceived value, and perceived value defines attraction. Machiavelli warned rulers never to appear weak before their subjects, because once weakness is visible, respect erodes. Attraction works the same way. If your mood collapses when she withdraws, if your confidence shakes when she questions you, if your direction changes to please her, you are no longer the leader in the dynamic. You become the follower seeking approval. Power in relationships is emotional self-sufficiency. It is having a mission that does not revolve around her. It is priorities that remain intact. It is boundaries that do not bend under pressure. Women are biologically attuned to stability. And stability is not softness. It is structure. It is discipline. It is controlled dominance. She wants to feel chosen. But she also wants to feel that you had options. She wants devotion. But only from a man who does not need her to breathe, because need suffocates. Power liberates. When you understand this, you stop performing romance. You start embodying authority. You speak less. You observe more. You react slower. You decide faster. And suddenly the dynamic shifts. She leans in. Not because you chased, but because you became immovable. And nothing is more attractive than a man who cannot be emotionally conquered. Troll is invisible. It does not arrive with chains. It arrives with emotion, with guilt, with praise, with withdrawal. Most men never see it happening. They believe they are loving, but slowly they are being adjusted. A comment here, a test there, a reaction measured. And every reaction becomes data. Niccolò Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must never surrender his authority to please the crowd, because the moment he does, he becomes their servant. The same law governs attraction. A woman does not truly desire a man she can steer with moods. She may enjoy the control, but she will not respect it. And without respect, desire fades. A man who cannot be controlled does not argue to prove himself. He does not over-explain. He does not chase validation. He listens. He decides. He remains steady. When accused, he does not panic. When ignored, he does not beg. When tempted, he does not fold. His emotional state is self-governed. That is power, not aggression. Not cruelty, but sovereignty. He has standards that do not shift under pressure. He has boundaries that do not tremble under beauty. He has direction that does not change for comfort. Most men negotiate the values for attention. They cancel priorities. They tolerate disrespect. They reshape opinions, all for temporary approval. But approval is a leash. The man who cannot be controlled understands something dangerous. Attraction intensifies in the presence of resistance, not resistance through games, but resistance through independence. He is present but not possessed, engaged but not engulfed, interested but never dependent. He does not threaten to leave, he simply can, and that silent capability changes everything. Because the deepest fear is not anger, it is loss. Loss of access, loss of influence, loss of emotional leverage. When a woman realizes she cannot manipulate your mood, cannot provoke insecurity, cannot trigger desperation, she experiences something rare, uncertainty. And uncertainty breeds intrigue. Intrigue breeds obsession. The uncontrollable man is calm in chaos, detached in drama, focused in temptation. He does not need dominance to feel powerful. He is powerful because he needs nothing. He chooses, he evaluates, he walks away if alignment breaks, and that freedom, the unshakable inner authority, is the one thing that cannot be faked, the one thing that cannot be negotiated, the one thing that commands respect without asking. A man who belongs to himself. First. Always. Weakness is never announced. It is extracted. Slowly. Deliberately. Sometimes unconsciously. A woman does not always test you with direct confrontation. Sometimes it is a joke at your expense. A delayed reply. A subtle comparison to another man. A sudden shift in warmth. And she watches. Not your words. Your reaction. Niccolò Machiavelli understood that loyalty is measured in moments of pressure, not comfort. Human nature reveals itself when stability is disturbed. Attraction follows the same principle. A test is rarely about the surface issue. It is about emotional stability. She challenges your opinion. Do you crumble or stay composed? She withdraws attention. Do you chase or maintain rhythm? She questions your ambition. Do you defend with insecurity or respond with certainty? Every emotional spike is a probe. Every disagreement is a scan. Not because she is evil, but because instinct seeks strength. A man who reacts instantly exposes dependency. A man who argues endlessly exposes insecurity. A man who over-explains exposes doubt. Tests escalate when weakness is detected. Disrespect grows where boundaries are soft. Drama increases where reactions are predictable. Machiavelli warned rulers to avoid being despised because once contempt appears, authority dissolves. The same law applies here. If she senses that her moods dictate your peace, if her approval controls your confidence, if her silence disrupts your focus, the hierarchy shifts. You are no longer the center. You are orbiting. And orbiting men are rarely respected. A strong man does not silence her. He does not dominate through force. He dominates through stability. He hears criticism without collapsing. He acknowledges emotion without absorbing chaos. He refuses disrespect without emotional explosion. When confronted, he remains measured. When provoked, he remains slow. When challenged, he remains grounded. Silence becomes armor. Eye contact becomes authority. Minimal reaction becomes power. The test often stops when strength is confirmed, because there is nothing to push against, nothing to destabilize, nothing to manipulate. She may not consciously think in these terms, but attraction recalibrates based on perceived resilience. Weakness invites pressure. Strength invites alignment. And every interaction becomes a silent battlefield, not of words, but of emotional control. Emotion is the doorway. And most men leave it wide open. They react fast. They defend faster. They bleed their thoughts into the air without restraint. And in doing so, they surrender leverage. Niccolò Machiavelli warned that a ruler must master himself before attempting to master others, because the undisciplined man becomes predictable, and predictability is weakness. Emotional control is not suppression. It is command. It is feeling the surge of anger and choosing stillness, feeling jealousy and choosing silence, feeling desire and choosing patience. When accused unfairly, the average man rushes to clear his name. He explains, he defends, he seeks validation. But the man in control observes first. He lets the silence stretch, he answers briefly, or not at all, because he understands something dangerous. The one who reacts loses ground. In confrontation, emotion is currency. The more you spend, the poorer you become. Raised voice signals instability. Long messages signal anxiety. Repeated reassurance signals dependence. Control is in restraint, in measured tone, in steady breath. When she withdraws attention, you do not chase. When she provokes jealousy, you do not compete. When she attempts to spark insecurity, you do not flinch. Your nervous system becomes untouchable. That is power. Machiavelli understood perception governs loyalty. If you appear shaken, respect erodes. If you appear composed, authority solidifies. Emotional control creates mystery. She cannot read you easily. She cannot predict your reaction. She cannot manipulate what she cannot access. Most men mistake intensity for strength. They think passion proves depth. But uncontrolled passion is volatility, and volatility feels unsafe. True dominance is quiet. It does not explode. It absorbs. It calculates. It chooses response over impulse. In social pressure, others look for cracks. A smirk meant to provoke. A comment meant to embarrass. A comparison meant to reduce you. And if you react visibly, you confirm the wound. But if your expression remains neutral, if your posture remains relaxed, if your voice remains slow, the attack collapses. Emotional control shifts the dynamic. Suddenly you are not reacting to the world. The world is reacting to you. Calm becomes intimidating. Silence becomes strategy. Delay becomes leverage. And the man who governs his emotions governs the interaction. Without raising a hand, without raising his voice, without losing himself, affection feels warm. But warmth fades. It rises with mood, it falls with convenience, it depends on emotion. And emotion is unstable. Niccolò Machiavelli wrote that it is safer to be feared than loved when you cannot be both. Because love rests on obligation. And obligation breaks under pressure. Fear rests on consequence. And consequence lingers. In relationships, men chase affection. They try to be liked, to be adored, to be constantly approved. But approval is temporary. It shifts with feelings, with options. Fear respects boundaries. Affection forgives repeated weakness. Fear remembers consequence. A man who relies only on affection becomes negotiable. His standards soften. His limits blur. His identity dissolves into pleasing. But the man who embodies controlled severity, calm detachment, clear non-negotiables, becomes difficult to replace. He does not chase closeness, he allows it. He does not demand loyalty, he inspires it through presence. Fear outlasts affection because it is rooted in reality, in the possibility of loss, in the awareness that value can disappear. And nothing sharpens attention like the risk of losing something irreplaceable. Detachment is loud. It reaches, it asks, it waits for reassurance. Detachment is quiet. It observes, it chooses, it remains centered. Most men believe intensity creates attraction, constant texting, constant validation, constant availability. But constant presence becomes predictable, and predictability kills tension. Niccolò Machiavelli understood the power of distance. A ruler who is too accessible loses mystique. A leader who is always available loses authority. Scarcity creates value. In relationships, detachment is psychological scarcity. It is not coldness, it is self-containment. You enjoy her presence, but you do not depend on it. You desire her, but you do not need her. When she senses that your happiness does not hinge on her mood, something shifts. Her mind begins to calculate. If he can be fine without me, he can leave without me. That possibility creates tension. Tension creates focus. Focus becomes obsession. The attached man watches her every move, checks every notification, analyzes every pause. His energy leaks, his attention shrinks. His world revolves around reaction. But the detached man remains expansive. His life continues. His mission remains. His rhythm does not change. If she replies late, he continues working. If she cancels, he adjusts without complaint. If she tests distance, he mirrors nothing. Detachment disrupts expectation. And when expectations break, curiosity grows. Machiavelli understood that controlled unpredictability keeps subjects alert. The same principle applies here. When she cannot fully predict your emotional response, she invests more energy trying to read you, trying to understand you, trying to regain certainty. Obsession is not built on comfort, it is built on mystery, on unresolved tension, on incomplete access. The more you reveal, the less she wonders, the more you chase, the less she values. But when you hold parts of yourself back, when your inner world remains guarded, when your time feels earned, she leans in, not because you demanded, but because she felt distant. Detachment signals strength. It communicates options. It reflects abundance. It says you are here by choice, not by desperation. And nothing intensifies desire like the awareness that your presence is voluntary, that your attention is selective, that your departure is possible.